And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Hello, it's time now for your Alaska Marine Weather Outlook. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan coming to you from the National Weather Service on this Thursday, April 24th, 2025. And we start out with the state of the sea ice. We can start to see the edges of the pack ice becoming more ragged. We also see more openings along the shorelines. We clearly see that here in northeast Norton Sound between Shaktoolik and Gullivan, as well as there and west of Nome, and on the south and west side of St. Lawrence Island. And again, the process will just continue as we get into the melt-off that comes with the spring season, though cooler than normal temperatures are going to prevail along the west side of the state, especially up there through the Bering Strait and along the northwest coast. Looking at the satellite, or I should say at the surface weather map, late tonight into Friday morning, we have a weakening area of low pressure in the northeastern Gulf. This low will get pulled northeastward as a trough, and the enhancement to the rain and rain showers today at sea level, that'll continue tonight, but linger into the day Friday. It's looking like some drier conditions should shape up for Saturday afternoon and Saturday night across the Panhandle and along the northeastern Gulf. Further west, we have this occluded front pushing up into the southwest coast with a little light rain and snow. Nothing too terribly heavy, but lower ceilings and a little inclement weather, but again, nothing especially strong, nothing like the storms we saw over the past several weeks. By the time we get into Friday afternoon, we find still some lingering areas of rain and rain showers at sea level and lower elevations, still some snow showers up through the mountains. And back to the west, we kind of have a mix of some wet snow and rain over areas of the southwest interior. More likely just a little light snow and fog, especially across the lower Yukon Delta. And that will be pushing northward across Norton Sound into the Seward Peninsula and Bering Strait Friday night and into Saturday. You can see that trough that just kind of lingers along the west side of the state, and with it there will be some areas of light snow there, especially Seward Peninsula toward the Bering Strait and north of St. Lawrence Island. Meanwhile, this feature just kind of becomes the main low over the southeast corner of the Bering Sea outside of Kuskokwim and Bristol Bays, but no really strong pressure gradients or winds associated with that. There will be another low on Sunday come up out of the North Pacific up toward the lower central portion of the Gulf, and that'll be the next weather maker for areas along the Gulf Coast and Panhandle. In the meantime, Friday, we're looking at southerly winds for the inner channels. 15, 20 knots there, Lynn Canal, Stevens Passage, waves running 2 to 4 feet. As we get down to Dixon Entrance, 10 knot southerly winds, Ketchikan, Metlakatla with waves running a couple of feet. For the outer coast, Sitka down through Craig, 15 knot southeast winds, waves 6-7 feet. And then the outer areas, we have southeast to east winds across the northeastern Gulf Coast at 10 to 15 knots and waves generally right near 6 feet. For Saturday, look for south winds, Lynn Canal, 2-foot waves, Stevens Passage and down through Dixon Entrance, southeast winds 10 to 15 knots, waves 2-3 feet. Generally east winds, offshore flow all along the outer nearshore waters at right around 15 knots with waves running 4 to 6 feet. Prince William Sound will be relatively flat there on Friday. We're looking at variable winds, 10 knots, waves a foot or two. Outside of Hinchinbrook Entrance, east winds 15 knots, 4-foot waves. As we go down upper middle Cook Inlet, northeast winds 10 to 15 knots, 2-3-foot waves. And then easterly winds could be as strong as 25 knots there. Lower Cook Inlet in the Kamishak Bay and entrance, Kennedy Entrance with waves running around 5 feet. Saturday, winds pick up a bit. We're looking at easterly winds within Prince William Sound and outside of Hinchinbrook Entrance at 20 knots. Waves 3 feet there in Prince William Sound, 7 feet as we get out there outside of Hinchinbrook. And then easterly winds, lower Cook Inlet, northeast side of Kodiak Island at 25 knots. Waves will generally be running 5-6 feet there. On Friday, Kodiak Island is looking to have easterly winds at 20 knots, 5-foot waves either side, Shelikof Strait, east of Akiak. And then kind of a mixed bag of winds coming down on the North Pacific side, 15 to 20 knots. As we get out toward the lower end of the peninsula, north of Cold Bay on the Bering side, variable winds, 15 to 20 knots. There is that weak area of low pressure, but the general circulation should be southeasterly, but only 15 to 20 knots. On Saturday, Look for east-southeast winds 20 knots in the vicinity of Kodiak Island. That's the theme there. Also east of Chicknick and into Bristol Bay with the low circulation just northwest of there in that southeast corner of the Bering. And areas along the lower half of the Alaska Peninsula will generally see southwesterly winds around 15 knots on Saturday with waves 3 to maybe as high as 5 feet. For Friday, the eastern Aleutians, south winds 20 knots around Unalaska, becoming southwesterly in Nikolsky and just west of there. Once you get toward Atka and Adak, central Aleutians westward all the way out to Shemya, winds will be northwesterly, increasing from around 15 knots in the central Aleutians to 25 knots, Kiska to Shemya. And then on Saturday, we have westerly winds in the eastern and central Aleutians at 15 knots, and as we get out west of Adak, winds become northwesterly at 15 knots, so relatively light winds there as well. Friday, we'll see variable winds in the vicinity of the Pribilov, St. Paul, St. George, 10-knot winds, variable with waves 6-7 feet. South wind 15 knots into Bristol Bay, southeast wind there in Kuskokwim Bay, but because of the low circulation, we find in the front that's pushing up through there, northeast winds out of Norton Sound and along the lower Yukon coast at 15 to 20 knots. With ice in place, there could be some further pulling of the ice away from the shoreline there in the lower Yukon. And then Saturday, winds will be variable at 10 knots around the Pribilovs, but easterly, they are 20 knots within Bristol Bay, 15 knots within Kuskokwim Bay, and generally east winds around 10 knots off the lower Yukon coast and out of Norton Sound. As we work our way north, winds will be northeasterly, 20 to 25 knots along the west side of the Seward Peninsula, Wales to Port Clarence, and on the north side of St. Lawrence Island. As we ride up the Chukchi Sea coast, winds will increase upwards of 30 knots off of Cape Lisburne. There could be some blowing snow in that area. And then as we work our way from Wainwright all along the Beaufort Sea coast, Utqiagvik to Kaktovik, 25 to 30 knot northeast to east winds. So there could be areas of reduced visibility due to blowing and drifting snow Friday. And for Saturday, we still have winds out of the east at 25 knots, so coming down a little bit there from Kaktovik through Utqiagvik and Wainwright. And as we drop down into the lower Chukchi Sea, south of Point Hope, Kivalina, out of Kotzebue Sound, easterly winds 15 to 20 knots. And then as we push south of the Bering Strait, winds will be out of the northeast along the west side of the Seward Peninsula to the north side of St. Lawrence Island at 20 to 25 knots on Saturday.